this says, proud of Nottingham. Well, I'm ashamed to tell the truth. I'm not ashamed of the people of Nottingham, it's just some of the corrupt people that are running this city. And there is a lot of them. It's not just institutional child abuse, it's taking properties from people. It's talking about corruption and where the money's going for the taxpayers. There's a lot of dirty shit going down in this city, to be fair.
Taking children from paper.
Yeah, state stealing the children, to be fair. Right, all I can say is, this is not about, in my opinion, this is not about any individual, this is about what's going down in this city, and it's not a good thing. What bothers me and affects me is institutional child abuse and Operation Daybreak. Specifically Helen Chamberlain, Mom. We've had an investigation running now for 4 years in this city. We've not arrested or charged anybody with anything.
Can you stand corrected on that? There's 2 waiting to go.
Oh, there is now. There's 2 waiting to go for trial. I do know about them, Mickey, to be fair. But what we're going to do is, all the people we didn't arrest and charge, we're now going to re-look at them. So everybody who's suffering, all the victims, all the survivors, I'd rather call them survivors than victims, to be fair, right? We now can't settle up because QC Godsmark has decided, while there's a criminal investigation going on, there's not going to be no court hearings for damages unless we buy you off for about 5 grand, because this is going on and on and on, and there's a lot of very, very affected bad people, victims, survivors that have got drug issues that aren't getting the support in this city, and like it's going on and it's never ending, to be fair, right? But you know what I say? I'm not bothered about the money. It's not about the money, it's about change. Recognition. Do you know what I mean? Recognition for the suffering. And what pisses me off the most is, to be fair, everybody knew what was happening at Beechwood. There was a serial killer there, right? The children knew, the staff knew, the other social workers knew, the field social workers, the residential ones, all the other children's homes, the teachers. It was all delisted by Jack Straw. You're not allowed to report sexual abuse while you're in care, right? Until you leave when you're 18, and I'll tell you why. Say you've been sexually abused by a family member and we want to steal your child, right? We'll put them into care because we're the authorities, we'll look after them. Now, hypothetically say you've been raped, molested, abused in care. We're not going to pay for your legal fees, the social worker's legal fees, have a court case while you're in care, the council will be found negligent for neglect, they get fined, the child be awarded damages, but then we'll send the child back to care. Do you know what I mean? Where else is there to go apart from care? And there's something goes seriously wrong. John Mann MP, I emailed you. Gloria De Piro, Equalities Minister. I contacted loads of you. None of you responded. Maria Miller, Margaret Hodge. I wrote to David Cameron. A lot of people have emailed these people in London, and the bigger picture is the National Child Abuse Inquiry that has been set to last until 2020. They're brought in Goddard now from Australia.
New Zealand.
Sorry, I'm not good at
What does it matter?
Pardon?
New Zealand, and what does it matter where they
Well,
come
that's
from?
part of the
They're all
crown,
the
isn't
same.
it? You know, but still.
Yeah.
But what I think is this. It's an inquiry. It's not a criminal investigation. And what happens at an inquiry? They sit down, they have a chat, nothing happens. Just like Lord
They
Green.
brush you under the carpet.
Well, yeah, there's like, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, like, but I mean, Lord Green, he was the head of the HSBC in the Bank of Bermuda, HSBC. They was taking money from, no, not Mexico, Colombia. You know, trafficking the money for the drugs. They had an inquiry. They made £7 billion. They charged them 1.3 billion, and they let them keep the other 5.7 billion. This girl's in HMP Peterborough today, alleged to have sold 2 bags of heroin. They're in jail. Why isn't Lord Green in jail?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why didn't the police turn up and arrest the bankers or remove them so they couldn't do any more harm?
Because they're all
A population
Jesuit.
of countries.
Well, I personally think they're probably in the lodge at Goldsmith Street in town, or one of the others, the Duke of Westminster. I mean, he's the Grand Master Mason, to be fair. And I mean, that's the Queen's cousin, so that's a privilege, you know. But what I'm bothered about more than anything is if we've never had an inquiry and we don't deal with the child abuse, are we pretending paedophilia stopped? And Harriet Harman, I'm going to say direct to you now, the entire country wants a public apology from you. You sit there, you spoiled a 7/7 memorial service because we have to look at your bloody face, and you represented Liberty, who was the paedophile information exchange, and it's on your CV, to try and push through the age of consent, family intersexual relationships for the age of 4. And you signed them documents and tried to put them through to Parliament. And you're masquerading around in Parliament and you make me physically sick.
Yep.
Go on, Mickey Summers. Go on, Mickey Summers.
I'd like to say about what Mark Sloan identified earlier.
Come here, you fat.
Mark Sloan told you about the dictatorship. Well, I'll tell you about the dictatorship. Right, I exposed, along with Mark and several others, September the 8th last year, the cover-up. Well, we've been beating them non-stop, right? We were meant to get around the table on July the 1st to start a public inquiry in Nottingham. They've stabbed us in the back and started a review. And to silence me, here is a court injunction, right? The same court that issued stuff against Tom, issued by a judge, no seal, no signature. My message to you, and do one!
Debt Free TV, in association with GetOutOfDebtFree.org.